Hi everyone and welcome to DearDharmaDude. My name is Vivian and with the Venerable Master Han Chung and my fashionable guest Judy. So Judy, in our last episode we were talking about shopping as an addiction, perhaps to compensate for some insecurities that we might have, or simply because we're victims of the overall culture that, makes us feel that we need to buy to, whatever it is. With that said, did you have a follow-up question for the master?
Yes, I wanted to see or know how to get over that addiction.
Okay, that's a tough question, but you can see that there are tendencies that we either receive or to give, we take, we get, or we give, or release. So there's always
what
something.
Are we giving?
Giving, meaning, some people go shopping, buying and getting things for themselves, but there are people who really want to give others. But let's take a look at the dynamic behind, right? So when people really want, when you go shopping, the fun that you have is about choosing. But when you get, what do you feel?
I feel like wow, I got something quite nice.
Okay, but what happened the next morning?
I wear it.
You wear it, okay. And after you wear it, what do you feel?
Well, if I get compliments on it, oh, I feel good.
You feel
but
good.
if nobody says anything, oh, I guess it's not that great.
Okay, not that great. But it doesn't give you the lasting fulfillment.
No.
See, that's the point. So, but the fun is on the pursuing it, on the searching for it, seeking it. But the happiness or the fulfillment is even get it. After maybe a couple of few weeks, then that thing becomes so familiar to you, and now you search for the new one.
Right.
So that's the nature. Addiction is the nature of also of the mind. When we are self-centered, we always want to get something for us. Now, in the Buddhist teaching, we know that there is levels of consciousness, but the next level of consciousness is the level where we don't take things, but we give. So in other words, there a different psychology here. When we start to learn differently, we learn differently, meaning we see differently. We don't see the same thing. Like, okay, this is a clothes, so I need to have it. But we see, oh yeah, this is a need, or this is a want. And we distinguish between the two, and what happened next is this, we will decide. Usually we cannot decide because the want is so much, right? The desire is so much, and the insecurity is so much. In our practice, we say the insecurity is down here in the very low region of our body, meaning the center of energy is down here, where our reasoning is up here, but the gravity is down here, and so we just cannot fight with that gravity. It's so strong, pulling. And so the first thing that in the Buddhist practice we say, okay, when you look at something, if you can be aware of your desire, no, that's liberation. When you be aware of your desire, meaning you don't do anything, you don't need to get that anymore. But usually we don't have that.
Yeah.
We don't have that awareness.
But
so
what
difficult.
if you say you kind of strike a balance between shopping versus giving?
Okay, so that's now come down to the second level. The first level is to be aware of our desire, our greed, and we stop it right at that point. We just let go of, oh, I'm greedy, I'm really selfish, and you stop it. That's the first high degree, and I don't think we can do that easily. But the second degree is maybe easier, and that is learning how to give. So usually, I was taught, after I became a monk, I was taught that if somebody else give me something, then I have to learn, think in my mind, who do I transfer this to other people? So I have to think about giving. But I cultivate a kind of thinking, meaning when something comes to me, then I have to think about how to pass it on. So the idea of passing on.
Can you give an example of something
okay.
you pass on?
Okay, very simple thing. During the celebration, somebody gave me a very beautiful Parker pen.
Okay.
Okay, and immediately the teaching come to me was, all right, let's pass it on. So I have to looking for somebody else and okay,
So
give
you
to that
never
person.
keep any of the gifts?
No, I do keep. I keep for a while,
Oh.
but
For a little.
but then give to others. Okay, to share with them.
You can pass on clothes too.
Yeah.
Pass on clothes.
On to somebody else.
Yeah.
So when you buy a new outfit, you maybe donate the old clothes that
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
might be out of style or something?
But you see, if you donate to Goodwill or Salvation Army, sometimes you don't get the feeling. Sometimes if you go and you give to someone who really need it, then you will feel very fulfilling.
Right.
You will feel a reason, a meaning for you why you're doing this, and you can see how people are really in need.
Right.
Then they don't just desire, but they need it.
Right.
And so when you give them, now the feeling will be tremendous. Okay, and if you take a look at the psychology, that why we pursue something, because we feel good about it, we feel excited, it kind of excitement, the kind of intoxicating. The brain release certain kind of certain kind of chemicals that make us feel so intoxicating. We have to do it more and more and more. But then when you get it, then slowly that chemical reactions now fades away, and so we don't feel at all.
Right.
Okay, so we need to have escalate our
So don't
search.
don't suppress it. Do it to the point where you don't really need it anymore. Right?
Yeah,
Shop
the
as much
first
as possible until you don't need to shop anymore.
So you're sick of it.
Yeah.
we have to be expedient, meaning, okay, learn to pass it on, learn to share with it first. That's the first step. But the second step, maybe we'll have to learn to be aware, self-awareness. Learn self-awareness. So the moment that you start to get into it, then you know, well, maybe I should stop. Okay, but thing is this: maybe we are the creature of habits, habitual creature.
Right.
We want to do something all the time, and therefore, if you pass it on, let's do that. Do a lot of passing on. Do a lot of sharing. You do long enough. You do a lot of sharing, giving a lot to people. Then suddenly, one day you wake up and you feel, I don't need to collect anymore, because the joy is over there. The joy is not over here, not me. I see the joy in people, and I can resonate with that. I don't need to. You see, and that happened with somebody else I knew. He was very much into getting only one kind of thing: clock, watches.
Oh.
Okay, but then when we start to use digital watches, the whole wall of watches now he started to give to people.
Oh, wow.
Because he couldn't use it anymore.
Oh.
It's not something that people would like it, and the watches and all that is not very expensive, and so he's giving to people. But by giving and sharing that, he found out that the joy in giving is more than the joy in collecting. So that's a whole different kind of chemical reaction in the brain when we give something, because we seem to empathize with the people who are in need of it, and that empathy really changes the whole brain chemical, and the heart and the brain and the body will be changing because of that empathy. And so, in other words, to get things is another form of being addicted, but also the form of selfishness, or maybe a slightly selfish or self-centered. But when we give to people, we seem to transcend the selfishness, and we seem to be a little more aware ourselves, and sometimes giving really a dharma sometimes, because to some people it couldn't be a dharma, but giving really make our hearts open and can make us transcend.
So maybe initially identify that awareness that, hey, maybe we don't need to shop as much, but in doing that, creating a habit of every time you get something, think of ways to return that favor by giving something.
Pass it on.
And then ultimately
Yeah, sure.
you'll just be so used to giving that you don't see the need to get anymore. Does that sound...
That sounds
No?
okay. That sounds
Okay.
okay.
It's
I think
So-
that you also have to be aware that
Thematic.
you're greedy at that moment.
The
Right.
selfishness
That you're
or self-centeredness?
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, it's come very naturally and very organically. Meaning you can't just say, "Oh, I'm so greedy," but it comes to the point of realization. You say, "Oops, this is too much. This is too much." Okay, and you stop. But I think the joy of giving will override the joy of getting, and that's what we want to teach, ourselves and others. I don't think we should want to blame the shopping so much, because we kind of find the industry shopping is like alcoholic. A shopaholic is just like anything else, an addiction that we have to deal with slowly and with kindness, with patience, but we just didn't want to do it, in 3 minutes or 1 day or 2 days. Yeah,
Right.
long-term project.
Long-term project. Okay, so I think we're running out of time. Thank you, Judy, and thank you, Master. See you guys next time. Bye.